R. Sarasu is an assistant head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Dhanalakshmi Srinivasan College of Engineering and Technology, Mamallapuram, Chennai. She has 7 years of teaching experience for undergraduate and postgraduate students. She has also served as head of the Department of Information and Technology for 2 years. She has been teaching in the area of data structures, computer architecture, design and analysis of algorithm, internet programming, advanced computer architecture, information security, soft computing, system software, web technology, and advanced Java programming. She has attended various workshops and many faculty development programs. She has also presented papers in national and international conferences. She has comprehensive problem-solving ability and good communication skill with a strong inclination for teaching. Her research interests are web data mining, web data extraction, and semantic information retrieval.
Welcome to UGC lecture series in computer science. Today we are going to see series of lecture on web technology, semester 6, paper 15, and unit 4 of web technology covers ASP.NET, introduction, page directives and controls, including HTML controls and web server controls. Today outline of the program is ASP, what is meant by ASP? ASP introduction, the directives used in ASP.NET pages and the HTML controls. ASP.NET. So it is a server-side programming language, and ASP means active server pages. It is developed by the Microsoft and it is used to develop web applications and dynamic web pages. It allows the programmer to build dynamic websites, web application and web services. And since it is named as ASP.NET, it needs some CLI, common language runtime, to execute this ASP pages. So the ASP.NET programs requires IIS, Internet Information Server, to execute the programs. So in HTML we will be using the IE, Internet Explorer is sufficient to run the web pages, whereas web pages created by ASP.NET requires IIS. IIS is Internet Information Server. Once we have enabled Internet Information Server, which is present in the program features of control panel, we can run any program based on ASP.NET. These are the running time setting environment for running web application designed by ASP.NET. So the basic page structure for ASP.NET. So the ASP page consists of the page directives and the script which should be run on the server, and the rest of the page contains the actions and the HTML programs. Let us see an example for this. The basic page structure for ASP page always starts with the scriptlet at the rate of directive name attribute equal to value. So the directives can be of any types, and the important directive is page directives. So we can use any other languages like C# or VB to write the ASP.NET programs. So the languages can be designed with C# or in VB. Let us see an example for this program, a basic program for ASP, the programming structure. So this is the example program for the ASP. For example, here HTML tag is there, body tag. We have given form but run at the server. So this is used to specify all the programs which we have written in ASP will be running at the server side. So this is an example program which specifies all the programs running at the server side. So this is a basic structure, and this is a script run at the server where we are going to give some actions whenever the button is clicked, what script should do. So this is the first part, and this is the part where we will design our controls. So today we are going to see this type of programs. So the page structure contains the page directives, script to be written, and the controls to be embedded. The page attributes or the directives indicates what language the particular ASP.NET page has been written. So for example, the page can be written in C# or the page can be written in VB. So both the languages are possible. Next is, what are all the types of directives available in ASP.NET? So the directives are application directives, assembly directives, control directives, implement directive, import directive, master directive, output catch directives, and the page directive, which is a fundamental one which we are going to see. So the application directive specifies what application the particular page has been written, and assembly directive specifies what attributes required at the parse time, and control directives specifies the control structures of the web page which we have going to design with the ASP.NET, and implements directives define. So suppose we are going to use in C#.NET, so what are all the directives, inbuilt directives required for this web pages to be designed, that and all be considered by using implement. And then import, so the import is also some class names or some other interfaces which we requires, objects we required from the C#.NET, we can import it. So we can import like in Java we will be using import to include the files, class files. Likewise, to include C#.NET header files to our particular programs, particular web pages which we are designed using ASP.NET, we can use it. So next is master directive, from one page to another page, the links. So all these controls will be coming under this master directives. And output catch directives deals with the databases, how long the database is updated, and whether the database is updated, in what duration. So that type of attributes will be coming under output catch directives. And the page directives we have specified, that is, it is used to specify what are all the types of languages used. So we are going to see some of the directives in details. The first directive is page directive, which defines the attributes specific to the page file or the page passed and by the compiler. For example, scriptlet @ page language is equal to VB. So it specifies the script has been written in VB, and auto event wire up is equal to true. So this language, auto event wire up, debug are called as attributes for page directives. So language is VB, auto event wire up is set to true, means the page will be compiled automatically. Debug is set to true, initially it will be false, we have to set it as true to compile and get the values. So this been given, language can be VB or C#. Debug, the parameter, this parameter is set to true, the page will be compiled. And auto event wire up, so this boolean value that enables or disable the page events that are being automatically bounded to the methods. So these are the some of the attributes related to page directive. So page directive defines the attribute specific to the page file, that is ASP.NET page files, and the attributes are given below. And next type of important attribute is import, which is used to specify additional libraries or namespaces required for the web pages. So in C#.NET we will be using some inbuilt directives or namespaces. So for example, system is a class and drawing is a namespace which we required for current web page, we can import it directly, and we have to specify the language as C#. So at the rate of import namespace is equal to system.drawing, which is required for graphical purposes, and system.sql client for creating database connections. So these are all not available in ASP, so we are importing that from C#.NET to the current web page which is designed by ASP. Next is output catch directive, is an important directive which is dealing with databases. So we can also use databases in ASP, which is not a part in HTML directly. We have to use some front end to get the databases like Java or any other languages, whereas this ASP.NET we can deals with data. So we need some directives to specify this page is being using some databases. So the output catch directives controls the output catching policies of a web page or the user control. It is used to specify whether the data is coming for the database and what duration is coming, whether the database is updated or not. So output catch specifies the database operations, and the example given here is scriptlet at the rate of output catch duration is equal to the time duration and vary by parameters. None is how much time it is going to be vary and which parameter is used to vary the database values. So I have given none here. If you give the values, the database values will be updated at the duration of the seconds which we have specified in the duration attribute. So next is these are the directives, important directives which we are basic directives which we are using. So page directives which specify the type of the page directives, specify the language used and whether the page is being compiled, etc. And the import directive specifies the namespaces or objects from the C#, the parent language, which is required for some websites, and output catch directive specifies the database operations. So these are the some of the directives, important directives required to write the ASP.NET program. And let us see the next thing is ASP.NET controls. So ASP.NET controls are used to create the controls, and there are two classification of controls. One is web server controls and ASP.NET HTML controls. So the HTML controls are same as HTML, and some syntax is being different, but the working of the controls is same as HTML controls. And the ASP.NET server controls can perform every job accomplished by HTML server controls. So the first control which we are going to see here is HTML control, and HTML controls are, we have buttons, HTML input buttons, HTML input checkbox, HTML input files, HTML input hidden, HTML input image and password, radio buttons, reset, text field, image, HTML image, links, anchors, etc. So these are the some of the examples for HTML controls required to design HTML websites, ASP.NET websites. So these controls are required to create some fields or forms in the ASP.NET web pages. So first one is, let us see the first control, HTML anchor control. So the anchor, as a name indicates, it is used to link the web pages. It is same as like HTML anchor control. So it allows directly to render the HTML anchor element. It is used to link to some other web pages, or it can be used to submit the web pages for processing. So whenever the data has been submitted, the action to be taken. So likewise, the other page should be opened to say that the user data has been entered, like that. We need to process some web pages, data present in the web pages. So that way we are going to use HTML anchor. So it is used to connect web pages, and after entering the data, what action to be taken. So the syntax here is anchor tag id is equal to anchor1, runnet is equal to server. See this, the anchor tag is same as HTML, only the difference is runnet is equal to server. So this is the basic difference between HTML controls which is designed in HTML and the same HTML control designed in ASP.NET, since this is a server side programming. So for all the controls, we have the attribute runnet is equal to server. It specifies that all the HTML controls will be executed on the server side. So this is a basic difference, but the working is same as HTML controls. So next control which we are using is HTML tables. It is same as HTML. It consists of rows and columns, and and these HTML table contains three controls inside it. What are they? They are table tags. Table is the name of the table which we are going to use, and tr, the second one, to insert the row, and td to insert the values in the table. So let us have short break. We will see the rest of the controls after the break. Welcome back after the break. Before the break, we were discussing about the HTML controls available in ASP.NET, and HTML table tags contain three controls within it: table, tr, row, definition. These are the three controls which is already present in HTML. The same has been used here also, but the difference is we have to use runnet is equal to server. So this is the basic difference between the HTML table and the tables used in ASP.NET. So let us see the syntax: table id equal to my table, the table name, and the attribute for table is id, bg color, border color. So id is equal to my table is the table name, and bg color is the table color, background color is white, and the border color is red, and it should be executed on the server. So the same for every control we should give runnet is equal to server to differentiate it, and tr specifies the row to be inserted inside the table. Since table is a arrangement of rows and columns, tr specifies the row, and the row id is row 1, and inside the row we have columns and the values to be inserted, and the values are inserted with the help of td. td is table definitions or the value to be inserted the same way, and I have given the name as cell1, runnet equal to server, and the values is I have displayed the colors rose and red. So this is an example for table tag. So table tag control is used to insert the table inside the ASP.NET page, and it contains three controls: table tag, tr, table row, and td, table definition, to insert the values. So let us see the next control. The important control is forms. So inside the forms we are going to embed the controls. So the forms, HTML's forms are same as the forms which I have designed in HTML. Here also, like in ASP.NET, here also the forms website forms are created by using form tags, and the same way we will be declaring that form id equal to my form. So the attribute required for forms are id, the name of the form, method, what method the data has been given to the server, whether it is post or get. So you can use post or get. So post will will pass large amount of information to the server, whereas get method which will give less amount of information to server, and post is very secure, whereas when we are replacing this post by get, it is very less secure. So this is a basic difference between post and get, and as usual we have to give runnet server to specify it is not a HTML control, is ASP.NET control. So it is forms are used to embed some control inside the web pages. The next one is the controls which you are going to embed inside the web pages, and the HTML input controls. We can have text field as an input control. First, text fields are asked the text field are used to enter the information, or it asks the user to give the details to the form such that these details will be submitted to the server. So input id, the syntax is the input id is equal to my text box, the name of the text box which is defined by the user, and the runnet is equal to server, which as usual we have to give, and type equal to text. So this type equal to text specifies this is a text field, and the user will enter the data. So what is the size of the length, maximum characters the user should enter, and the size of the text field. So all this will be considered as attributes. id, the name of the text field, runnet, it is a server, it specifies ASP.NET control, and type specifies it is a text field. So we have to give type equal to text, and the length of the characters to be entered, and it specifies a size and also the size of the text field. So these are the attributes: id, runnet, type, max length, and size. So the HTML input controls, first one is text field. If you want to give the text field, we have to specify type equal to text. Next control is HTML password. This is used in forms to enter password. Generally we will be using username and password while designing the web forms, several web forms. So when you want when the user want to enters password, we can directly use this control insert text field. So it is of the type password. So the attribute here also, the input control is input tag has been used, input id equal to password. So any id can be given by the user, this is user defined, and type equal to password. When the type attribute is set to password, it indicates it's not a text field or some other field, it is a password field. And the maximum, as usual, the maximum length of the characters and size of the password field. So the password field asks the user to enter the characters as a password to the web server, such that it can process it as a password and not as a normal text. So that syntax is input type equal to password, run at server, type equal to password. So this is a differentiation to indicate it is a password field. Next type of input field is text area, and the text area is a multi-line input text, that is in using text field which we have seen before, input type equal to text, which will accumulate only the limited amount of characters, not line number of lines. So using this text area control, we can use any number of rows and columns, that is we can enter multi-line text. So the syntax here is text area. So we should not use input type, we should use text area tag, and the attributes similar to the text field like id, the name of the text area which we are creating. Sometimes we want the user to enter the address. Address in the sense it has multi-line input. So that type of addresses and that type of inputs we can use this text area. In some web pages they will be asked the user to enter comments. So comments contain more than one line. So that time the text area field can be used. So the attributes of text area are id, calls and rows. So that indicates number of rows and number of columns. Multi-line text input. So the basic difference in between text area and text is text we will enter only single line or limited amount of information, whereas text area we can enter large amount of information. And next one is select option. So when the user wants to list some of the items to be displayed, for example if we are designing shopping website, we will be displaying items present in that online shopping, books, what are the types of books. So want to list the items, we are going in for HTML select option. So it will create the HTML select will create drop down list or a list control, and the syntax here is select tag, and as usual we have to give the name of the HTML select control as select1, the name is specified by the user, runnet is equal to server, and what is the size of the list. And this is used to specify the list and the items to be displayed. How the items are added to the list? Using the option tag. So it is similar to the HTML control option, the values, what are the options. For example, the books can be a technical books, it can be a Java books. So list of items. So the items can be added to the list with the help of this option. So there are two ways to add this list of items into the list which we are creating by the ASP.NET control. So one is using option, another one is using add method. So the add method we can add the number of items automatically. So how it is possible? We have to use the name of the select control which we have designed. The select control name here is select1. Select1 is my control name, and items. What are all the items I am going to add? This is a inbuilt keyword. We have to use items dot add and the value, the user defined value. For example, Java books, then technical Java books, story books. Likewise, we want to add different values, we can use it. So the name of the select control, items inbuilt keyword, and add is inbuilt keyword which specifies the item to be added to the list. So dynamically we can add the items to the list. So this is an example for HTML select control. And the next type of HTML control is checkbox. So it is used to give the options to the user as usual of select, and checkbox we can give it as input id is equal to my check is the name of the checkbox, and as usual it should be runnet equal to server. It should specify it is a ASP.NET control, and type equal to checkbox. So we can also defaultly we can set whether the checkbox is selected or not by using the keyword dot checked. So here we have added the items like dot add. We can also select the items and we can show to the user, simply select it like that. So we can use checked. So instead of add, we can use checked to check the whether the items have been selected by the user or not. So we can check whether the option has been selected by using checkbox. So it's another type of control. And the similar way like checkbox, we have radio buttons. Radio buttons forms a group of main items. In that we have to choose only one item. For example, if you are designing the web pages for entering the user details, we will be asking male or female. So that time we will be choosing only one, male or female. So that time we will be using radio buttons. So checkbox allows multiple options, where radio buttons allows only one options. So both are available in ASP.NET Controls. And we have entered all the details. Then we have to submit that to the web server for processing it. And the HTML in ASP.NET, same as HTML, we have HTML submit button to submit all the values gathered from the form through the controls can be submitted to the web server using this HTML submit. So here the same way as input tag, input ID equal to mycheck or the submit, the name which we can give by user, mycheck we can give the name of the button, then runnet equal to server, and type equal to submit. So this is the difference. So type equal to submit indicates it is a submit button, and what should be the value displayed on the button which we are creating, the name. So we will giving this as text on button, and on server click which event or function should call to handle this data. So whenever the submit button is clicked, what the script should do, the script should process it, or whether the script should submit to the web server. So the action to be taken whenever, if suppose the user has entered all the detail, if the data or details should be updated in the database, then we have to write the coding for updating the database. When this button is clicked, it should be submitted. Likewise, so the event to be occurred. So when on server click means when the submit button is clicked, where the data should be sent and what it should be happen. The next thing to be happen are specified with the help of this on server click. So input type equal to submit. Whenever the submit button is clicked, what thing to be happen next should be specified by the user inside the script using the functions. And HTML input image button. So normal input button will have only the text field, text name, that is input type equal to button will create one button. Whenever the user clicked the button, something will be happen. Whereas input image button will used to design the button itself as a image, that is it will not have the text field name in their appearance. Instead it have image on the button. So an image button, to create the button as a images by embedding the image file into the button types. So these are all the some of the controls we have seen. And input file control is used like HTML to import the file. For example, if the user want to attach the resume with this web page form which he creating, then he can use input file to design, and they can upload the file at the runtime. So this is the next type of important control. Let us summarize this session. We have seen what is meant by ASP.NET, how to run the ASP.NET, and what is a runtime environment for ASP.NET, and what are all the types of directives used, and some of the directives like page import we have seen, and the types of controls. So let us have some questions for understanding purpose. What is meant by ASP.NET? What is the advantages of using ASP.NET? What is meant by directives? What are all the types of directives used? And what are the HTTP controls, or list some HTTP controls used to design a dynamic websites. With this we come to the end of HTML controls inside the ASP.NET, and we will see the web server controls in the next session. Thank you.